Welcome to Sunderland in the northeast of England for the second running of the Great North 10K. Last year saw a tremendous finish to the men's event with South Africa's Stephen Makoka taking the title with a blistering sprint finish. This year there is the prospect of an equally exciting race as a strong lineup is assembled in both the men's and the women's races. So let's get straight to the action. Your commentator for the 2010 Great North 10K is Stuart Story.
Once again a mixed race, the men and women elite already preparing. They're being joined by the masses in a moment, but this is Sue Partridge. She goes to the European Championships for the marathon representing Great Britain. Liz Yelling, twice Olympian in the marathon for Great Britain, of course, a new mum now, gave birth to daughter Ruby this last year, had the whole of 2009 out, and she had a lot of injuries too, perhaps a bit more of that later. Günther Weidlinger. Now he's steeplechaser turned to road running, turned to marathon. He goes to the European Championships for the marathon. He's the current great Australian run champion, incidentally. Robert Chariot, Kenya, won the Boston Marathon this year, just outside 2:05. How about that? Very, very talented. And Victor Rothlin comes out next, silver medalist in the European Championships in 2006, was 6th in the Olympic marathon in 2008, of course, in Beijing. You just see on the right there, Baldini. That's Stefan Baldini, who was the actual European champion last time and former Olympic champion too. There he is, nearest the camera. 10 kilometers of running, as you've heard, and the masses, all 5,000 of them, clicking those individual stopwatches. And the race is underway. There's a little bit of wind around, one or two undulations in the course, which will challenge a few, probably not the elite, although it may affect the times overall. And those stopwatches, look at them clicking away there. Wonderful shot, that. And you can see how they're spread out already, the elite just dragging out this mass of athletes. Phil Wicks takes up the running alongside the Kenyan, the favourite, and there's Robert Chariot. I can see Weidlinger there. He's in about third place at the moment, just settling in alongside Stefano Baldini. Those long socks, of course, identifying the former steeplechasers. Had a bad fall actually in the last major steeplechase competition in the World Championships, a really bad fall. But now has said that he enjoys the road running and has won that Australian race. Won Manchester, not this last time, but the time before last. And look at that now, they're well spread out. Already the race is on and the elite of the men are well away. And of course we'll see where Sue Partridge and Liz Yelling are and the rest as soon as we can. But in a mixed race, of course, this always happens. Both athletes, both women athletes, are used to running in mixed races. Well, the pace quite good. It'll be sub 29, I would think, on this course. Last year it was just outside 29 minutes. That wonderful finish that we reminded you of at the beginning with Stephen Makoka, just beyond 29 minutes. Wicks looks very calm and comfortable. Jayasinga in the middle. On the left with the blue strip, I haven't mentioned him, Edwin Kipkorir, a 20-year-old Kenyan, a newcomer. He's a steeplechaser as well, incidentally. Weidlinger right on the curb. And the rest strung out behind. But Wicks is setting a good pace here, sub 29-minute pace. Well, one would expect that. A little look over the shoulder there from the former Olympic champion Baldini. But Wicks leading, and the race should be a good one. A little look there at the second group, the two women, Sue Partridge in the green top and Liz Yelling on the right. And Sue Partridge says that this is designed as a sharpener for the Barcelona European Championship Marathon. That seems pretty sensible to me. She was 10th in the Commonwealth Marathon in Melbourne in 2006, ran just outside 2:39. And beautiful shot, isn't it? A wonderful venue. And this parkland here, Mowbray Park. Yelling looks very, very comfortable indeed. She said she's only had, what, a few weeks of training coming into here. She had a very bad injury, incidentally, did Liz Yelling. which she says she's recovered from now, but needs an awful lot more training to get her back to her Olympic form. She was 26th in the Beijing Olympics and 25th in 2004 in Athens, so she's got some pedigree there. But just looking down here, the men way ahead now, and it's a big group, a very big group indeed, and no real change. And there's Senga on the right of your shot, Wicks still in the middle. On the left is Robert Kiprono Chariot, the marathon man. In the middle, in the blue strip, that's Edwin Kipkorea. He'll be 21 in September this year. He's got a best of just outside 28.5 actually, so he's a newcomer. And back looking at Sue Partridge, looks very comfortable indeed. There's Kat Grimmett behind in the white strip, 8th in the Danish half marathon, just outside 74 minutes this season, just to give you a little bit about her form. She was 5th in the Bath half marathon as well, so she should be there and is there. And so 3 women in contention. Just coming up to 2 kilometres, so looking at the clock, it's 3:20 per kilometre thus far, so it's a pretty useful pace. And Sue Partridge pushing on just as the leader Robert Chariot is doing the same. Still 7 men in this group, and one would expect that looking at the form, but certainly Chariot pushing on. He's a youngster, but 2:05 for a marathon. I mean, that is world class. It really is. With 3 kilometres gone, the masses still going across that Weymouth Bridge. And look at this. Terrific pace. It's proving difficult for some, and all of a sudden Phil Wicks is dropping off the back of that group at the moment. I just wonder whether he can stay with this. Senga is there. So is the youngster Edwin Kipkorea. We didn't mention him at the start. He's very much a newcomer here. And Chariot looks very comfortable indeed. Weidlinger, with those long socks, just sitting in. Baldini still there. But if anything, their Senga looks to be working harder than most, doesn't he? But back to the women. So Partridge from Yelling, from Grimmett. Grimmett representing the Police Athletics Club, incidentally. Partridge looks very comfortable, and this a real opportunity to set herself up for that marathon in Barcelona. But the women, no change thus far. Partridge still leading. Roughlin has been dropped, incidentally, just looking at that leading group. He has, and he's gone back quite a long way, and that's really a surprise. So I just wonder who's going to take it on. There's Roughlin in the background there. He's about 30 or 40 metres behind, and he certainly looks as though he's gone. That's a very difficult place to be, really, watching all this group go away. There's 6 men now away from this field. Weidlinger says he hasn't got a sprint finish. If that's the case, then we could see him make an earlier break to try and run the speed out of the legs of the Kenyans, or certainly one we know about, one we don't know about. Back to the women's race here, and you can see that's Ian Twaddle, but recognise the red vest leading the women away, and it looks as though Sue Partridge is trailing him in. Incidentally, that's St Peter's Church, the National Glass Centre below, in the bottom right-hand corner of your shot. And it is a wonderful course, this. And there is Sue Partridge, and opening up a little bit of a gap now on Liz Yelling. And it looks now as though they're on their own, as Twaddle is running his own race at last. Always useful for the women to run in mixed races, though. They can latch on to athletes. It gives them a pace-making potential, of course. And that's why records are different for mixed races and individual races. That's male and female races. But Partridge certainly got a best of just outside 33 minutes, her best time. She's won some half marathons, incidentally, been first athlete home on several occasions. They're the leading 5 for you. And of course, no change. Weidlinger in the middle. I just wonder who's going to take this one, really. Someone soon. Weidlinger says, as I said before, he hasn't got the finish. He doesn't think he's got a sprint finish, so he'll have to start pushing it. Looks as though he might be doing just that at the moment. Kip Korea on the middle. Oh, well, is this significant? Robert Chariot now pushing it on. And there's a little gap of about 4 or 5 metres opening up. As far as the women are concerned, well, Sue Partridge is still leading, and she's well ahead now of Liz Yelling, who really is finding the lack of training a problem. You can see Liz in the background. She's about 100 metres behind here at the moment. The most recent win for Partridge was the Staveley Lake District National Park 17-kilometre trail race. She does a lot of that. She won it for the 3rd time, and that was a good grounding as well. A lot of strength endurance coming from that, and the speed endurance coming from these 10k races as a preparation for the marathon in Europe, in the European Championships. And Liz Yelling really suffering from lack of training, and of course taking time off to start a family. This is to be expected, but she'll be back. Liz Yelling, she's a class athlete in every sense, but Sue Partridge looks to have this one tied up.